If you can't control yourself, you will spend your whole life being controlled. That is the brutal truth most people avoid, because it forces you to look in the mirror and admit what you already feel deep down. The real enemy is not outside you. It's inside you. It's the part of you that craves comfort, chases distraction, and runs from effort. It's the version of you that wants results without sacrifice, success without discipline, peace without control. Stoicism was built for moments like this, moments when you realize life isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's moving forward whether you grow or not. Self-control is not a talent. Discipline is not a personality. They are decisions you make every day, often in silence, often in discomfort, often when nobody is watching. And the reason most people stay average is simple: they let their impulses lead their life. Today, you will learn how to take back the steering wheel. Not with motivation. Not with hype. But with the deep, unshakable power of self-control and discipline. Every time you say later, you are training your weakness to win. Because procrastination is not a time problem, it's a self-control problem. It's your mind choosing comfort over progress. It's your body choosing ease over growth. And it always starts small. One skipped workout. One delayed task. One more scroll. One more excuse. But small choices don't stay small. They build habits. Habits build identity. And identity builds destiny. The Stoics understood that the mind becomes what it repeatedly obeys. If you repeatedly obey laziness, you become lazy. If you repeatedly obey fear, you become fearful. If you repeatedly obey distraction, you become unfocused. But if you repeatedly obey discipline, you become unstoppable. This is why self-control is the foundation of greatness. It is the ability to choose what is right over what is easy. And once you build that ability, life stops feeling like chaos. It starts feeling like a path you can walk with purpose. Discipline is not punishment, it is protection from your lower self. Your lower self wants comfort. It wants pleasure. It wants quick rewards. It wants to avoid discomfort at all costs. But your higher self wants meaning. It wants progress. It wants mastery. It wants a life you can respect. Every day, these two versions of you are fighting for control. And the outcome of that fight becomes your future. The Stoic does not hate the lower self. The Stoic simply refuses to obey it. Because obeying it leads to regret. It leads to wasted potential. It leads to a life that feels safe but empty. Discipline protects you from that emptiness. It protects you from becoming a spectator in your own life. It forces you to show up, to build, to grow, even when you don't feel like it. And that is why discipline is love. Not the soft love that comforts you, but the hard love that transforms you. Self-control is the ability to pause and choose power over impulse. Most people live without pause. They react instantly. They eat when they feel stress. They speak when they feel anger. They quit when they feel discomfort. They chase pleasure when they feel emptiness. And they call it being human. But Stoicism calls it being untrained. The Stoic mind trains the pause because the pause is where freedom lives. In that space between feeling and action, you get to decide who you are. You get to decide whether you will be ruled by emotion or guided by reason. And reason is not coldness. Reason is leadership. It is the calm voice that says, "Not now." It is the steady hand that says, "Stay focused." It is the disciplined heart that says, "Keep going." Self-control is not about never wanting. It is about wanting wisely. It is about choosing what serves your future instead of what satisfies your moment. You don't need more motivation, you need a stronger standard. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes. It disappears when life becomes hard. But standards remain. Standards are what you do regardless of mood. Standards are the rules you live by even when nobody is watching. The Stoics didn't wait to feel inspired. They acted from duty. They acted from virtue. They acted from commitment. And that is why their philosophy still survives today, because it works when emotions fail. If you want self-control, raise your standard. Decide what you will tolerate from yourself. Decide what you will no longer accept. Decide what kind of person you are becoming. And then act like it. Not once. Not when it's convenient. But consistently. Your mind will resist at first. It will beg for comfort. But once it sees you are serious, it will obey. The mind respects authority. Become your own authority. Discipline is built in the moments you think don't matter. The moment you choose to get up when you want to stay in bed. The moment you choose to work when you want to relax. The moment you choose silence when you want to argue. The moment you choose patience when you want to react. These moments feel small, but they are everything. Because they shape your identity. They shape your confidence. They shape your self-trust. Most people destroy their self-trust by breaking promises to themselves. They say they will start, then they don't. They say they will change, then they repeat the same patterns. And over time, the mind learns not to believe them. That is why they feel weak. But discipline rebuilds self-trust. Every time you keep a promise, you tell your mind, I am reliable. And when you become reliable to yourself, you become unstoppable in life. The greatest flex is not talent, it's consistency. Talent can start a journey, but consistency finishes it. Talent can open a door, but discipline keeps it open. The Stoics valued consistency because it is proof of control. Anyone can be disciplined for one day. Anyone can be focused for 1 week. But can you stay disciplined when you are tired? Can you stay focused when you are bored? Can you stay consistent when results are slow? That is where most people fail. They don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because they are impatient. They want quick progress. They want fast rewards. They want comfort while growing. But growth is uncomfortable. Growth is slow. Growth is repetitive. The disciplined person understands this and stays anyway. They stay when it's boring. They stay when it's hard. They stay when nobody is clapping. And because they stay, they win. Your habits are your hidden leaders, and they are shaping your life quietly. You don't become great by accident. You become great by what you repeatedly do. If your habits are weak, your life will be weak. If your habits are strong, your life will be strong. That is the Stoic truth. Habits are the daily votes you cast for the person you will become. Every time you choose discipline, you vote for strength. Every time you choose comfort, you vote for weakness. And over time, the votes add up. This is why self-control is not a one-time decision. It is a lifestyle. It is a daily practice. It is a commitment to becoming better, even when you don't feel like it. The Stoic does not chase perfection. The Stoic chases progress. And progress is built by habits that are aligned with your values. If you want control of your life, start by controlling your mornings. Because the morning is where your discipline is tested first. The warm bed. The temptation to scroll. The desire to delay. Comfort attacks early because it knows a weak morning creates a weak day. But a disciplined morning creates momentum. It creates confidence. It creates a sense of command. The Stoics would start the day with intention. They would remind themselves of what matters. They would prepare their mind for difficulty. They would commit to virtue before the world distracted them. You don't need a perfect routine. You need a deliberate one. Wake up and win the first battle. Make your bed. Drink water. Move your body. Sit in silence. Set your focus. The day will still be hard sometimes, but you will face it from a position of strength, not from a position of chaos. Self-control means saying no to what feels good now, for what feels right later. It means resisting the urge to waste time. Resisting the urge to overeat. Resisting the urge to react emotionally. Resisting the urge to quit when discomfort shows up. And yes, it will feel like sacrifice. But sacrifice is not loss when it buys you freedom. The disciplined person sacrifices comfort today so they can live with peace tomorrow. They sacrifice distraction today so they can build success tomorrow. They sacrifice impulse today so they can build stability tomorrow. Stoicism teaches that true pleasure is not found in indulgence. It is found in self-respect. In knowing you did the right thing. In knowing you stayed disciplined. In knowing you didn't betray yourself. That feeling is deeper than any temporary comfort. It is a quiet pride that cannot be stolen. Your emotions are powerful, but they are not qualified to lead you. Emotion can inform you, but it should not command you. Anger can signal injustice, but it should not create destruction. Fear can signal danger, but it should not create paralysis. Desire can signal attraction, but it should not create addiction. The Stoic mind feels emotion fully but responds with reason. That is control. That is discipline. Most people are dragged by their emotions like a boat in a storm. The Stoic becomes the captain. They don't stop the waves, but they steer. They don't deny the storm, but they stay steady. This is the power of self-control. You stop being a prisoner of your feelings. You become the ruler of your response. And when you control your response, you control your life. Discipline is choosing discomfort on purpose, because you refuse to be fragile. Fragility is living only when conditions are perfect. Fragility is needing life to be easy to stay calm. Fragility is breaking when you face inconvenience. The Stoic rejects fragility. The Stoic trains discomfort because discomfort builds strength. Hard workouts. Early mornings. Deep work. Honest conversations. These things are uncomfortable, but they create resilience. They create confidence. They create the ability to endure. And endurance is what life demands. Because life will not always be gentle. It will test you. It will pressure you. It will challenge you. And if you are untrained, you will collapse. But if you are disciplined, you will adapt. You will survive. You will grow. Discipline is not about making life harder. It is about making you stronger. The real reason people fail is not lack of ability, it's lack of self-control. They know what to do, but they don't do it. They have the plan, but they don't follow it. They have the dream, but they don't commit. And the gap between knowing and doing is discipline. That gap is where lives are won or lost. Stoicism teaches you to close that gap by building inner authority. By becoming someone who does what they say. By becoming someone who follows through. The disciplined person doesn't rely on mood. They rely on duty. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They create progress in imperfect conditions. That is why they succeed. Not because they are lucky, but because they are consistent. Not because they are special, but because they are controlled. You become powerful the day you stop negotiating with your weakness. Weakness always negotiates. It says, just today. It says, you deserve a break. It says, you can start tomorrow. But tomorrow is the language of weakness. The disciplined person doesn't negotiate. They decide. They commit. They execute. And at first, it will feel harsh. It will feel like you are fighting yourself. Because you are. But over time, the fight becomes easier. Because your mind learns that you are serious. It learns that you will not fold. It learns that you will not be manipulated by comfort. And once the mind accepts your authority, discipline becomes natural. Not effortless, but natural. It becomes who you are. And that is when self-control stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a lifestyle. The most dangerous addiction is comfort disguised as self-care. Self-care is important, but comfort can twist it into laziness. It can make you believe you should avoid all discomfort. That you should always choose ease. That you should never push yourself. But growth requires pressure. Strength requires resistance. The Stoics believe that the soul becomes strong through challenge. Real self-care is not always soft. Sometimes self-care is discipline. Sometimes self-care is saying no. Sometimes self-care is waking up early. Sometimes self-care is doing the hard thing you keep avoiding. Because the hardest thing is often the thing that will free you. Comfort might feel like kindness, but too much comfort becomes neglect. Discipline is the kind of love that builds you. It is the kind of love that refuses to let you stay stuck. Your life is shaped by what you do when nobody is watching. That is where discipline lives. Not in public. Not in applause. In private. In silence. When you could cheat but you don't. When you could quit, but you keep going. When you could waste time, but you focus. This is where character is forged. The Stoics believed virtue is what matters most. Not what people think of you, but who you are when you are alone. Self-control is the ability to remain virtuous without supervision. To remain disciplined without pressure. To do the right thing because it is right, not because it is rewarded. And that kind of discipline creates a life that is stable. A life that is respected. A life that is powerful. Because it is built on something real. The reward for discipline is not just success, it is peace. Peace is what everyone wants, but few earn. Peace is not found in avoiding struggle. It is found in knowing you can handle struggle. Peace is not found in comfort. It is found in self-trust. When you are disciplined, you trust yourself. When you trust yourself, you stop panicking. You stop overthinking. You stop fearing the future. Because you know that whatever comes, you will respond with strength. That is Stoic peace. Not the peace of a life without problems, but the peace of a mind that is trained. And once you experience that peace, you stop chasing external validation. You stop chasing quick pleasure. You stop chasing approval. You become anchored. And an anchored person cannot be easily shaken. Discipline turns ordinary days into extraordinary lives. It is not one big moment that changes you. It is the small decisions repeated daily. The choice to show up. The choice to focus. The choice to stay consistent. The choice to control yourself. And those choices compound over time. One day you look back and realize you are not the same person anymore. You are stronger, calmer, sharper, more confident, more disciplined. That transformation does not come from luck. It comes from self-control. It comes from daily effort. It comes from refusing to betray yourself. And that is the Stoic path. It is not easy, but it is worth it. Because the greatest victory is not over others. It is over the version of you that wanted to stay weak. If you want more power, stop seeking control over life and start mastering yourself. Life will always be unpredictable. People will always be imperfect. Outcomes will always be uncertain. But you can always control your response. You can always control your effort. You can always control your attitude. That is where your power lives. And when you build that power, you stop feeling like a victim. You stop feeling helpless. You become someone who can face anything. That is why self-control and discipline are not optional. They are the foundation of greatness. They are the foundation of freedom. They are the foundation of peace. And if this message is speaking to you, it means your stronger self is waking up. Feed it. Train it. Build it. Because your future depends on it. If this video gave you strength, don't walk this path alone. This channel is here to sharpen your mind, strengthen your discipline, and build your inner power through Stoic wisdom. So subscribe right now for more videos like this, and stay with me on the Stoic path. Because the world will test you, but a disciplined mind will always win.